Clemson. What do you feel like you got out of that redshirt year last year?
I mean, the biggest thing for me was just, learning the offense. Just really learning the fundamentals of O-line. I mean, obviously coming from high school to college, there's a big difference, especially at the line of scrimmage with, the talent, size, the speed of the game, everything like that. So I think that year that I took really just gave me a chance to acclimate, get my feet back under me, and just really build a solid base.
I guess how much was there an idea that you might play earlier? I think there was maybe an injury that kind of.
I mean, it was a possibility, but I mean, ultimately that was up to me. I wasn't ready yet. I needed time. I needed time to develop and get better, and I knew that coming into it. And I'm really glad that happened.
Chapel Valley State newspaper, Jordan McFadden just talked about him as a leader and mentor for you last year.
First of all, I mean, the biggest thing that impressed me about J-Mac, which is who he was off the field, great guy of character, everything like that. I mean, I think he really just brought us together in his O-line. He gave us somebody that we can get behind when things is hard and somebody that we can celebrate when things are easy. I mean, ultimately, he was just a great guy for the young guys coming up, especially.
Larry Williams, TigerIllustrated.com. Was it hard last year, though, when you come in with Blake and you see him rising to starter right off the bat, and then you're sort of, more in a more obscure type of position?
Honestly, no. I mean, that was my roommate coming into it. Biggest emotion I felt was just happy for him. That's one of my best friends off the field, and I was just really happy to see him succeed early on. I mean, he's doing great things now, and he'll continue to do great things in the future.
What was it like getting your first start Saturday?
It was honestly surreal. Growing up, playing football from a young age, that's something you always dream about. And I don't know, the biggest thing I can just say is it was surreal. It was a lot to process. I'm still processing it, but I'm just grateful, especially to our coaches and our fans, for just really taking me in and supporting me.
How did you perform?
I felt like I had a good performance. Obviously, there's things I need to clean up, but I look forward to getting better in the future and hopefully building on that.
What is it like playing left tackle when you're rotating another tackle? Is it easier, harder to get settled into the game?
I say the biggest thing is just settling in. I mean, obviously that takes a few snaps, but I mean, once you're settled in, it's all about just staying in the flow of the game, staying engaged even when you aren't in, and just supporting your guys, whether you're on or off the field.
What's it like having Tristan kind of battling back and forth with him?
Honestly, it's hard for me to view as a battle. I love the guy. I love him on and off the field, and really all it's about is just both of us going out there every day and doing the best we can, and however that pans out, we're each happy for each other.
Have you cross-trained in any other positions where you think you might be able to see playing time as well instead of left tackle?
I've cross-trained at left tackle and right tackle, and obviously, last year I got some reps at guard, so I'm continuing to polish that up as well. Not quite as much, but I'm still working it a little bit.
Talking to Will Putnam last year, he said he had a little bit of an edge, kind of nastiness to you. Where did you get that from?
Really, where that came from was my high school coach, Amos Lamb and Greg Porter over at Greenville High School. Shout out them. Great coaches, great people. But that's one thing that Coach Lamb was huge on is, just playing to the whistle, finishing, putting yourself on film in the best way possible. And that's something I try to carry over into college the best I can.
Can you take us through your recruiting process and how you settled in on Clemson?
Well, really, honestly, Clemson just came out of nowhere. I was already fairly far on in the recruiting process when they came in. I took a visit pretty randomly. One day my coach called me and was like, yeah, like Coach Caldwell from Clemson wants you to come to a practice. And, I went. I loved the environment. I loved what they were doing. I loved what they taught off the field especially. That's one thing that I was really focused on, especially in the process, was what happened off the field and how they conducted themselves that way. And Clemson, just shone in that area for me.
Who were you further down the road with at that point?
Sorry?
I guess who were you further down the road with? So you were pretty far down the road.
I mean, I never really released the top 5 or anything like that, but, there were a few other ACC schools that were up there, a few independents.
Was the offer like a surprise, you're saying almost, or kind of it was a quick process with Clemson? They kind of hopped on you and it kind of went really quickly?
I would say the offer wasn't as much as a surprise. I would say how it got started was more of a surprise. It wasn't something that, I saw building up or anything like that. It just kind of came out of nowhere and it took off really fast.
Did you grow up a Clemson fan, having been up here in the upstate, or was that something you agreed?
I was never really a fan of anybody, to be honest. I would just kind of like spectate, look who was on TV or anything like that. But I don't know. I became fans of Clemson, or a fan of Clemson, especially once I was getting recruited.
What was it about Clemson that made you a fan?
Honestly, it was the people. That was one thing that, I communicated with my parents and everybody who was involved in my process was, the people make the program. It's not about what they have to offer you on the field. It's about how they treat you on a daily basis and how much they value you as a person. And that was the biggest thing for me. And that's one thing that I really focused on with Clemson.
The thing we heard about you over and over is that you were physically ready. Obviously, Blake was as well. What do you attribute that to? Like, what about your upbringing in Greenville kind of allowed you to be as physically ready as you were?
Honestly, just dedication. Just being committed to whatever you have to do on a daily basis. I grew up on a horse farm. I'm used to, working, doing stuff outside, and I think that's something that I try to carry over to working out, studying film, and everything like that.
What do you do on the horse farm?
A lot of shoveling manure, just putting it in a pile. I take the horses out. I help my mom. My mom's an equestrian. She competes still, so I help her like brush the horses down, everything like that.
I think Coach Riley said a few minutes ago that he's really pleased with the way the offensive line is gelling and sort of developing in chemistry. What's your perspective of that?
Chemistry's huge at O-line. It's really the only position where you have that many people trying to function as one unit. And again, I attribute that to what we do off the field. We have our little O-line group called Omega Lambda, which is kind of starting to take off. We'll over the summer or, even now, we'll go over to the rowing docks, just spend time with each other. We'll all grill out on Sundays. And really it's just what you do with each other when you're not playing football that I think really just helps to bring people together.
How about the cohesion, like on the field, when you're working as a group? I mean, 10 years ago, there were tons of two-a-days and things like that, or now the time is limited during camp to really develop that. Do you see that as being something that maybe has to be developed more through the season now as a result of how things are structured in the preseason?
I would say we have to continue to develop it through the season. I mean, obviously no one's perfect. We're not going to play perfect, but I think the thing that we're trying to focus on right now is quality of reps, making sure that we're capitalizing on every single rep we take every day and just making it the best that we can.
Tyler Brown, his former teammate of yours, Greenville. What do you remember when he first arrived? He was playing basketball at Legacy, comes over to Greenville. And what do you remember about him when he first came to you?
I just remember him being a quiet dude. He never did too much, never said too much, just came in and was about his work, and that's something that I still really respect about him, and that's something that he's been able to carry over really well.
I think coaches have talked a lot about his fearlessness. Have you seen kind of plays where this little guy kind of shows he's not afraid?
I don't even know how tall he is. He might be 5'10", something like that. He plays like he's 7 feet tall. He just got a heart of a champion.
Any questions for Collin from Zoom? Anyone else in the room?
Give us a sense of what it's like being Cade Klubnik's left tackle in terms of, play calls, communication between plays, just kind of that whole experience for you.
I'd say it's a big responsibility. It's something that I'm trying to take really seriously. Obviously we want to keep Cade as safe as possible, and especially protecting his blind side. That's something that I take very seriously.
And Thomas Austin, just him as a coach, what's it like working with him? What do you like about that?
He's a great coach. He'll tell you exactly what you need to hear. He'll be honest with you. And again, he's been a huge part of why the O-line's been able to gel so well so far this season. He has dinners for us. He opens up his house for us, opens up his family, everything like that. I mean, he's just a really transparent guy, and that's something I really respect about him.
I guess what's it been like working with Coach Riley? Like, how would you describe his personality and how he interacts with you guys?
He's great. I love Coach Riley. The offense that we have, I really like how it's structured. We cater to the O-line a lot, especially, letting us make our own calls and stuff like that. So I really appreciate the sense of independence he gave us. That's the biggest thing for me.
Any other questions for Collin? All right, thanks, Collin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, God. Thank you, guys.